So I want to know, is there something along the way that you had these like good signs of how to be humble, or is that just something you've always had? Is that something you've been raised with?
Raised with, for one. Yeah, definitely. My parents will always keep me in check if
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting too cocky or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like I've had to earn what I have, and I respect the work that I put in, and I see the work that other people put in, if it's not more than me. So, like, I don't know. I don't see any reason to be overconfident.
I am an everyday athlete.
I am an everyday athlete.
I am an everyday athlete.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jared Bass with Mark McCain, and you are listening to Everyday Athlete, a podcast devoted to bringing you the amazing stories behind the lives of day-to-day CrossFit athletes like yourself. And we have a pretty amazing guest. Welcome, Drew. So Drew Wayman just finished his first appearance at, is it just Central Regional now?
Central.
It's just Central. They combine like Central East and Central.
North Central.
Yeah, it gets like bigger every year now.
I know.
I swear.
I know. So just finished top 10, 8th place, correct?
I think ninth.
Ninth, okay.
Yeah.
Still top 10.
So
That's
solid.
pretty.
Solid.
That's pretty.
First year,
pretty
solid.
unbelievable. And again, just being a part of the CrossFit world for some time now. And I remember the first year they brought it down from 60 individuals to, or was it 40 or 60?
I don't know. Either way, it's not getting any easier.
It's not getting easier.
Yeah,
that's
it's
a
definitely
big
getting
point.
harder.
And not to mention, you are how old?
22.
22. That's pretty astounding. Because we didn't start. You and I probably didn't start till we were
24.
24 or so. So, and you, how long have you been doing CrossFit?
About 3.5 years.
3.5 years. So started out at below 20.
Yeah. I think
And
19.
19.
How'd you find it?
There was a club at Ohio Northern University
Oh, cool.
that had a group called Polar Fit. We were the polar bears up there.
Polar Fit. Okay,
so,
yeah.
It was just kind of a high intensity, somewhat CrossFit if we had the equipment to do CrossFit kind of club, and that's what exposed me to it. And then once I transferred to the University of Cincinnati, I was able to actually join like a real affiliate.
Yeah.
And it's
Awesome.
taken off from there.
That kind of gets
yeah.
your. What was your? I always love asking. Do you have a first workout that really made you go like, I don't know if I hate this or if I love it? Do you remember?
It made you question life. Like,
Yeah, well, I
like-
think it was the first CrossFit workout I ever did was dumbbell goblet squats and burpees. It was like a 10-minute ladder, just a 1-1, 2-2, 3-3,
Eesh.
and it wrecked my world.
Well,
It was terrible.
And you so you're a soccer player originally,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And you're like, I'm pretty fit. I can do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you go, what happened?
happened? I
I don't
can't
understand.
feel
I don't
I
understand.
realized I'd never squatted below parallel until that
Yeah.
moment.
Exactly.
Actually.
oh,
What
makes a difference.
what position you play in soccer?
I was center back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was always midfield. So I played my entire life, and same thing. So the whole time, like, why do I need to lift?
Yeah.
I run. I can run long distance. I'm decently fast. And then, again, you put a bar on your back, and you have someone actually tell you to go below parallel, and you're like,
nope, that's not gonna happen.
it's all quads. I don't understand. I have no butt.
Yeah.
But yeah, we talk about that all the time. But one of those original things that just stick in your mind from almost a decade ago, thinking like, oh my God, it just put me on my back. Thinking,
Right.
I remember Fight Gone Bad the very first time we ever did it. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I gave myself a respiratory infection. Like that little blood taste in the back of the mouth.
oh yeah. Well, I think it's just that intensity piece, right? So, I mean, I'm sure that wasn't just like necessarily the first time mentally. Maybe you've gone that far into a workout, but did you always kind of have an intense kind of sense around you? Like whenever you were athlete, were you really competitive?
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, like I always wanted to be the best, and all of that comes along with just being an athlete in
Yeah.
general. Yeah.
That's
So what? So how do you get from being a 19-year-old doing goblet squats and burpees to a regional athlete? I mean, because obviously there's a 3.5-year process to
Yeah.
where you are increasing volume. But was it like, I'm going to regionals? Like after you start day one, like thinking like I this is something I really want to do, or is it kind of by happen chance?
little bit of both, kind of. I mean, starting out, looking up to guys like Rich Froning and all them, like, in the back of my head, it was like, that would be really, really cool to one day maybe be at that level or to compete against them in some capacity. But I'd say for the first year and a half, it was just kind of falling in love with CrossFit and adding in more volume and more lifting and stuff just because I love to do it. And then seeing that work, going, okay, maybe there's a possibility like this could be real. And so just kind of taking the steps slowly to, again, add in more volume, add in more intensity. And
did you identify any like clear weaknesses whenever you started? Was it just like a general strength, or was there some movements maybe that you're like, oh,
anything gymnastics related
Yeah.
was terrible, and it still is my absolute like biggest weakness.
Well, you're pretty tall. How tall?
6 foot.
6 foot.
But
Yeah,
I
I mean
mean,
So
that's giant in the
even
CrossFit world.
prior to meeting you, even just seeing photos of you, I'm like, that guy's tall.
Yeah.
Like that, and that's
That's one of the benefits of lining up next to Matt Frazier.
yeah.
Really tall.
You look really tall.
Right.
Of course, Matt's not going to listen to this. It doesn't matter. But
Please
you know,
don't find me.
yeah. But the funny thing is you know, for a while it's always was like gearing more towards your Josh Bridges kind of figure, where it's like, oh, you got to be 5'6", 5'7", and 195 pounds. And now I feel like the way they've been switching a lot of stuff up, there is no body type. It seemed like for a while, the kind of like mid 2010s, like your 2013, 14, 15, it was like you have to be this body type in order to be successful in the sport. And there are your outliers, there always is. But now they've thrown, you just look at the dumbbells from last year. Look at what they did this year with incorporating some pretty high skill gymnastics walking.
Super high skill.
Yeah, and now it doesn't matter what size you are. Did they have a really heavy lift? They didn't have a max lift or anything like that, did they? No snatch ladders or anything like that?
No, not really. I mean, the snatch workout in general, the first half was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a smaller guy.
Yeah.
But in general, I mean, there's no 90 percentile lifts
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Because that's always one that separates some of those outliers, where if you've got small femurs and a long torso, we're going to put you in the right position to do some heavier Olympic lifts. Because again, you see these cycles of who's got the biggest motor early 2010s, who's got the best Olympic weightlifting mid 2010s, and now we're gearing towards the end of this decade, and it's like they're incorporating a lot more of that single arm work, the higher skill gymnastics,
and like you said, that monostructure, not necessarily unilateral almost type movements and stuff like that with the dumbbells.
I mean, it's one of those things, like I'll be doing this again for almost a decade. If they throw in single arm dumbbell squat snatch, I'm not doing the open. It's just one of those things where it's like it's something that, especially as we're getting a little bit older, we are now shooting 10 years older than you.
Wow.
But it's like, can I still be fit without doing that? Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
But I think you see it's the evolution of the sport for sure, just like anything else, where we're seeing this issue with NFL right now is obviously concussions. They're finally like addressing this thing where CrossFit's finally saying like, hey, maybe we are, we bill ourselves as the fittest in the world. So there's certain truisms now, like obviously in the late, 2000s and early days of the games, 8 and 9, their Olympic lifting was not great. So they're like, hey, we need, it was, I think it was like 205 was like a good snatch.
Yeah.
Now that's like, you can do that for 15 reps in a row, whatever it is. Now 305 snatch is, pretty good. So that's a truism now. It's like you have to be good at Olympic weightlifting. And I think now they're basically just saying, hey, look, obviously a motor is consistent. You have to be good at Olympic weightlifting. You have to have high-level gymnastics, and you also have to throw some unilateral type stuff like dumbbell training. And oh, by the way, we're going to make you lunge with them. We're going to make you step up over the blocks, which that workout looked just terrible. You talked about your quads being smoked.
Yeah.
I'm sure that didn't help.
No.
But I think just as the brand, they're built. Whether it's a particular style athlete, I still don't think you're going to see a lot of 6'5" and up, compete. Unless you're just crazy motor, just with that range of motion, so on and so forth. But anyway, I think CrossFit, is establishing these truisms. That's kind of why I asked the question, like, as far as identifying weaknesses. So I think it still comes back to the fact that you got to make your weaknesses your strengths, and just strengthen the strengths even stronger.
I want
Be
to
well-rounded.
not switch gears and stay with me for a second, just because. So my future wife, my fiance, we finished our pre-cana last night for getting married in August, and one of the things they talk about are the signs of a good marriage. And one of those is like, if Mark's married and has been married for a little while now, and unbeknownst to him, I look at him and say, when Mark holds the door for his wife, that reflects on me, right? And one of the things that that I'd noticed from just talking to you for the last like 10 minutes is you are very humble, which is really hard to find in a 22-year-old, really hard to find in a good athlete. So I want to know, is there something along the way that you had these like good signs of how to be humble, or is that just something you've always had? Is that something you've been raised with?
Raised with, for one. Yeah, definitely. My parents will always keep me in check if
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting too cocky or anything like that. I don't know. I feel like I've had to earn what I have, and I respect the work that I put in, and I see the work that other people put in, if it's not more than me. So, like, I don't know. I don't see any reason to be overconfident.
So one of the things you said, I think maybe before we started recording here, was just like, Mark asked you got to meet anybody while you're there, and you said how just amazingly nice Matt Frazier was.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where he is at the peak. He's the pinnacle
he's
of
the
our
tip
sport.
spear.
He's literally
He is.
the sharpest tip of the spear right now.
Right there.
And, so unbeknownst to Matt Frazier, the way he carries himself reflects the rest of the sport. So that was kind of my point with that, with this whole marriage. So like, and you see that and you say, that is where I want to go.
Right.
That's how he acts.
Right.
Now, had he say like, hey, I'm Drew, and he just gives you the bird,
Yeah.
that's going to be like, well, that's how top athletes act.
Right.
So it's funny because you're going to have, this, as you progress as an athlete and become a little bit more in the public eye, the way you react to certain situations is going to impact everyone below you.
Right.
Not below you, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Everyone that might
around
look up to
you.
you.
Yeah.
So I think we try and preach humility, and that's one of our core values, and we try and preach that every single day. And I think it's huge to have, especially in this sport where you got jack dudes and girls with shirts off, to have a little bit of humility and say, hey, yes, it took a lot of work, but yes, I have a long way to go.
I think the opposite side of the coin is obviously confidence. And I know, and you have the confidence to be able to go out there and line up and be like, you know what, I can't. And especially this year at regionals, I feel like now you should have the utmost confidence that, like, hey, you won an event at regionals, you won a very, very difficult event, the triple threes, at regionals, and you had a great placing all weekend, and now it's like you said, it's having the humility that, hey, there are people out there working harder than me, or even just as hard, but I'm still doing my best I can. But also having the confidence to be like, you know what, I can hang with these guys. I can go out there and throw down and hold my own. So I think there's that cocky confidence thing is kind of what he's hitting at with Frazier. I'm sure he's super confident, But at the same time, and as he should be. He's what is he, 3-time? Is it 2-time?
2-time.
2-time fittest man.
Yeah.
So
Probably.
Either way, I mean, he got second,
Soon to be.
first. Yeah. It's just, they already got his name wrote on the check. But in all seriousness, he is. It's nice to see that humility. It's the same thing with Froning. I feel like he did a good job of modeling that for the sport, for the most part. But at the same time, like when it's 3, 2, 1, go, like he is 100% expecting to win.
Right.
So speaking of that, walk us through maybe just a typical training week for you.
You follow comp train?
Yeah, I follow comp train.
Yeah.
So leading up to regionals, still following comp train. If I could break the sessions into 2 sessions a day, just so I could keep intensity higher throughout those sessions, I would do that. But like back in the winter, it would just be go to class, come into the gym, try and knock out everything in one chunk, just go through it as best I could, and then if it didn't take 2.5 hours to get through it, add in some weakness work or some accessory stuff just to address stuff that I personally need to work on. But
Are you training by yourself, or did you have like training partners?
let's say 75% by myself, and then if there was something really gross programmed, I would try and like drag a buddy into it with me.
Come on, man, do this.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it'll be fun.
Yeah,
It'll be
fun.
fun. Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
I'll buy you a milkshake.
So, and I, again, take this in which the spirit's intended, because I don't want to take away, but like you being a student, I think is beneficial to your training schedule.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think it's an advantage for
Well,
sure.
and the reason I bring that up is because, and we don't see it nearly as much anymore. We used to have people come in day one and they're like, I'm going to regionals. I'm like, you can't touch your toes. You know, like, let's start with that. And not that you're trying to bring those people down, but having an understanding of where you are and being real with yourself and saying, this is where I'm at, or this is where my life's at. This is where my priorities, lie. Because right now you are a student. You're basically a student athlete.
Yeah.
You go to school, and are you a coach as well?
I coach at Soto.
Okay,
Yeah.
so have a part-time job. So your life is very conducive for what you want to do right now.
Correct.
Yeah.
Very.
Has that shifted at all over the past 3 years, or has it just kind of been, I've just been a student, I go to work, and then I try and work out?
No, I've pretty much been living the same life for 3 years. Not
Yeah.
much has changed. Yeah, it's just school's priority, but CrossFit is second.
Yeah.
And it's actually been interesting. Like as CrossFit's grown for me, I mean, school has gotten better and better and better. And I think it's just realizing how much time it takes to be good at something. Like I realized, like if you want to be good at CrossFit, you got to put a lot of time in.
Right.
You want to be good at school, you got to put the time in.
Sure.
Before, like I didn't used to put the time into school until I realized like how much effort it truly takes.
You have
something.
100% in this.
That's good.
We talk about this constantly, and you have 100% to give every day, and you've got 60% of your time is your job, and you've got 40% left. Well, you have a family, or whatever your priorities may be, and that may leave only 5% for the gym. And if that's where you're at, that's fine. If you want to be better at that, then you have to make room somewhere else.
And it's understanding that you're a product of your choices.
Yeah.
So you're 100% in control of like choosing that. Like, hey, I went to the same college you did. Guess what? I partied a lot. That was my choice, though. That was my choice. I moved. I didn't grow up in Cincinnati. I moved here, and I was in a big city, and it was all new and exciting, and I did different things. Yeah, when one time came, I buckled down and I did, school, and I had a job and all that stuff. But I obviously didn't discover CrossFit till after college. But anyway, but it was still my choice.
Right.
It was my choice to go out and do that, and I applaud you for having that maturity and that humility, like you said, to really focus in, because there's hundreds and thousands of other things you could be doing.
Yeah.
Where along the way did you kind of make that decision that I'm like, this is where I'm going to focus my time?
I don't think there was any necessarily
Definitive moment?
just kind of along the way. A lot of people in college like to do the parties and the going out and all
Sure.
that stuff, and I've never liked that. For some reason, I've just always been uncomfortable in that environment, and so when I found the gym, it just felt more comfortable and more natural. And
The funny part is like, especially just how like fickle 19 and 20 and 21, 22-year-olds are. It's just like, oh, that guy's a loser, and then he's not going to go party, shucking a beer, and then you say no, and then you get to like 25, 26, and everyone's like, oh, you're so lucky, you can do all this stuff. Like, no,
like,
when
yeah.
I was 19, way back then,
Yeah.
that's where it started,
yeah,
That's admirable, honestly, in a lot of ways, and you'll be that much more successful, that much faster because of it. I can guarantee that, because you're studying physical therapy. You just said that, right?
Correct.
And we were talking a little bit earlier about maybe just speak to maybe how that kind of just helps your training and whenever you're doing all these different movements and maybe experiencing some muscle soreness.
Yeah, so I'm in the undergraduate track for physical therapy at UC right now, and so a large majority of what we're doing is just general biomechanics and then a lot of exercise physiology. So having an understanding of why I'm doing the workouts I'm doing, like realizing you are training certain metabolic pathways with certain certain workouts and stuff, rather than just going, all right, we're gonna go do toes to bar and then ride the bike, and like, it's like why are we doing this? And then you can realize like where to focus on certain workouts and stuff like that.
Cool.
And then just having like the after effect of being sore and beat up, and knowing kind of how to fix that, and having professors and outlets to help with that.
Well,
very
minimally just
beneficial.
knowing the value of like, recovery is important.
Yeah,
Stretching
right.
is important.
Right.
Because so many people just don't understand that. Like Jared said, especially those 5%ers that are just coming in for an hour a day and kind of, want to hurry up and get in and get out. It's like they're not spending 15 minutes before bed stretching.
Right,
stuff like
right.
that. And
That's
then they're
all
wondering.
we try and cram it in.
And again, we always try to teach, from being practitioners and learning from our mistakes. Do you get to study nutrition at all? Is that like some?
I have a minor in nutrition, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh, you were so much more impressive than I was at 22. But that is truly amazing.
I mean, look at his hair for one.
I know. I'm jealous. I'm jealous of anybody with hair. Let's put it that way. So, having that knowledge, so we try and preach that as much as possible. Whenever we start a class, this is the response that we are expecting from your body. And is that something you can share? Do you share that with the people that you coach, or is that just something that, because I feel like that is such a helpful tool to say, Fran's an easy one. We know what Fran is supposed to feel like, right? We also know what Murph is supposed to feel like. You are not hitting the ground running during Murph, but you're hitting the ground running doing Fran. This is what is expected. Is that something you can pass on while coaching, or is that just something?
Yeah, I definitely try to. So if I'm coaching and I'm going over the workout for the day, for the class, I try to kind of explain the stimulus just so they understand how to scale the workout properly.
Sure.
So I think that's the biggest thing is people see the RX and just go, all right, like it looks heavy. Maybe I'll just do something heavy. It's like, okay, no.
Or the people who go heavy just to go heavy.
Or just, exactly.
Like I'll wear a vest during it. No, that's an excuse to go slow.
Right.
Like that's
exactly,
the biggest one.
Exactly. Yeah. So and another beneficial thing is just having earlier class times, their times to work on something. I'm like, this is your range.
Right.
Like if you can't do RX within this range, please scale the workout, or else you're doing a different workout. It's not what we're trying to do today.
Yeah.
I think a big one is grace, right? It's like it shouldn't take you 20 minutes to do grace, but it did RX.
Yeah.
It's like, this should be a knock them down, drag them out. Like I just got through 30 reps and I want to collapse.
Yeah.
Kind of workout. Obviously, if you exhibit 4-range of motion without any restrictions, and you can handle the barbell well. Again, that's one of those ones where it's like people that are going 10 plus minutes on it. It's like, you're missing the stimulus.
Yeah, you're not doing.
We're not.
You're not
It should be
doing
under
grace.
5 minutes. Workout. So
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's
being able to verbalize that though is so important.
Yeah.
well, and being able to coach people through it and getting them to realize, and again, going back to when we talked to Steven and the way that he kind of grooms his people to kind of think for themselves. We used Helen a lot in that episode, but it was like when they do Helen, it's not a 3 rounds for time, 400-meter run, 21 swings, 12 pull-ups. It's 3 rounds of a 400-meter sprint with 21 unbroken hip extensions and 12 pulling movements.
Yeah.
It's up to you to figure out what that is. Yeah. Now, that takes a lot to groom your people to do that, but when you do, man, that's a whole new level of fitness, because now
absolutely
everyone has the same response. Everyone's finishing right around that sweet spot. You don't have your 22-minute people, because they walk the 400-meter. So, so you said minor in nutrition. How does that help you? I know how it does, but I want you to tell people how that helps you.
It was huge for me. The best class, at least personally, was we had a nutrition and exercise class, and just learning how to break down macronutrients, learning how much you're supposed to eat post workout, how much you should eat generally throughout a day, just stuff like I was able to refine my own nutrition and plan my macros and stuff like that, which is something I didn't even know existed before that class. But
that's awesome.
at least especially over this past year, I mean that was huge for me.
What was the biggest changes you made to it? Was it like a carb were you not getting enough?
I was eating way too much fat.
Way too much fat.
Yeah, it was like half a jar of peanut butter a day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Right.
I was like, it's healthy, right? It's peanut butter. It's great. And I was like, no, that's a lot of calories.
Yeah. That tends to be a little counterproductive for muscle production.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but again, the really cool thing is when you can figure that out for yourself, and you see like almost instant changes. You can see that within 2 weeks, where you stop eating half dry peanut butter and replace it with something a little bit better choices. But then when you can pass that along to people, and then they really start to see those upticks, and whether for most people it's body composition. Let's be real. You talk about athlete status. You're talking about shaving seconds off of workout, but for a lot of people it is body composition, and you get some people they do that because they look at peanut butter as a protein.
Yeah, exactly.
It is not.
Exactly, it's not.
It is mostly
Not the main
fat.
component.
There's some protein in there,
Yeah.
but the vast majority of it is fat. So what does we talked a little bit about how you're feeling right now, and it's pretty much fully recovered at this
For the
point?
most part, like I'm gonna work out today.
Yeah.
Like, I feel good enough to.
Did you do anything in particular, anything specific after regionals to kind of fast track you back onto feeling a little bit better?
Not really, just general. Like I tried to stretch.
Yeah.
Some rolling out, voodoo flossing.
Sure.
Just the stuff I would do normally.
Maybe back up and kind of take us through the regional weekend, what that was like, and you know, you guys probably you arrive on Thursday?
Yeah, I got there Thursday. Check-in was around like 3:00, so we just rolled in. Got there, checked in, got the tattoos and all that stuff. Just pretty cool experience.
Yeah, they upgraded. Usually it was just a Sharpie.
Yeah,
Sharpie
there's
on
a
your
guy
arm.
with a Sharpie. Just
Yeah.
So
Did you get drug tested?
I was not.
I don't know if they did that at the begining or.
I think they say they just do the podium finishes.
They just do the podium. Okay,
So
they just
as
do
soon
podium
as
after. Okay.
they announce
All right.
it, you're like corralled back there.
I'll
I
bet.
swore the one year whenever we were there, it was like they were piss testing people.
I'm sure they do it
Check-in.
randomly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think they do.
Yeah. Either way, sorry. Do you go down with your family and stuff, or was it?
Yep, down with the family. Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
So you get there Thursday, and then you check in. They give you like a brief, and then Friday, first workout, triple threes, right?
Triple three.
Yeah. So walk me through that. Did you have a strategy going in there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd done that workout in full probably twice. I'd done probably 3 additional variations of that. So, I mean, I knew exactly what pace to hold on the rower. I knew I was going to go 100, 100, 100 on the double unders, as long as none of this like tripped up or something like that. And then I had not run on an assault runner. All my stuff had been on a true form. So
Right.
that was a little bit of a switch, but the assault runners, I think, are a little bit easier,
Oh, sweet.
honestly.
Yeah.
So I got on there and I wanted to hold around a 7:45 minute pace.
Yeah, that's
And
nice.
so for my first mile was probably right at that. Second mile slowed down a bit. And then at the end, I knew the guy next to me. I kept seeing his pawn move like just like 3 seconds before me. I was like, screw it. Like,
I was wondering how they
Let's
were
just
gonna
go.
kind of visually show you, and
Yeah.
that was actually kind of a good idea with the moving of the
yeah,
thing.
I
So.
liked it.
Um,
And then
those-
what did you get on that? What was your time?
38:10,
38:10.
I think.
Was that a record?
That was a PR for me.
PR. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's pretty awesome. And running on those is not like running on pavement.
No, it's completely different.
Yeah.
It's almost like a different movement. of the
What's
whole-
it feel like? What's the biggest thing you can akin it to?
The balance, for one. Like, you feel shaky the whole time on them. So it's just a lot more energy to stay stable and to stay relaxed.
Yeah.
And then just to keep it moving, I feel like it blows your hamstrings up.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Yeah, that's
just
what I was
because,
thinking.
like,
It's weird because it almost seems counterintuitive to like almost that pose method, because it almost feels when you watch people do it like they're heel striking to drag that
Exactly.
kind of runner along, but that's 100% counterintuitive. Not counterintuitive, but against what a lot of that pose running method kind of preaches.
Right.
Whereas almost striking right
Balls
at
of the
your
feet, yeah.
right below your feet. But then if you did that, you wouldn't have anything to
you
push
wouldn't go
against.
anywhere.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, good.
I was gonna say, so after how long do you have to recover till the next event?
I think that was the longest day that we had in between events. I think we had like 3.5 hours.
Yeah, that was like 49
On that
minute time cap.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, it was long.
Yeah.
I don't
It was
know
an hour
what's
per
I don't know
heat.
what's worse, having shorter or
Yeah.
depending on what it is. Sometimes a shorter rest period is almost better because you don't
Yeah.
have that time to cool back down. You have to warm
yeah,
back up again.
Yeah. Yeah. After that one, though, it was nice having a long rest after that one, because
I'll
that
bet.
was just, I mean, that drained every ounce of energy you had out of
So
you.
what'd you do to recover? Did you eat, drink,
Just chugged a bunch of water, ate a couple bagels, and then sat in a chair for 3 hours.
You had bagels.
What kind of bagels?
Plain bagel.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
nothing
I like
fancy.
that cinnamon raisin.
Yeah, that's good
Raisin.
stuff right there.
Yeah.
So what was next?
Linda was the second event.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bench
that was
press.
bench
And they
press, yeah.
and they averaged the weight out to 295,
195.
195, 155,
145.
145. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what was it like with those shorter bars? Is that
Short bars were weird.
That looked weird.
They
They were
suck.
very
I think
weird.
that's.
So like for the cleans, it was kind of fun, and
Yeah.
it didn't do anything. But the snatch workout
Oh yeah.
wrecked my world.
Yeah, that's-
I did the
especially
first
for a
one,
tall
and
guy
like
with long
I'd never
arms.
touched a short bar before.
Oh damn.
So I did the first snatch, and I was like, oh no, this is not even gonna be the
Yeah.
same workout. Like,
Right.
It was like doing clean grip snatches
Yeah.
the entire
you,
time.
you would think like they would figure out a way, whether it's venue or just how they're positioning, to like, let's use real
More
barbell. I mean,
bar,
especially we talked earlier about it. It's like, you imagine if someone was 6'5" out there trying to
Oh, you
snatch a
couldn't-
short
you
bar.
couldn't.
Like that's anyway.
Yeah.
I digress. I'm for the
No,
tall,
I-
I'm for tall people.
I agree. I mean, I do remember picking them up and thinking, because they still weigh 45 pounds, like it doesn't look like it should weigh that much. And then,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
somehow, like, I don't know what you make a metal bar heavier with,
Yeah.
but being that short, it is still the same weight.
Yeah.
But
so Linda, that's a lot of volume. That's and you did a really good job at
It
that
was.
workout. What did you finish on that?
I think I finished right at the 14-minute mark.
Yeah,
I think.
placing wise was
I believe 6th.
6. That's
Yeah.
solid. So a
Yeah.
first and a 6.
Yeah, it
day
was a- it
one,
was a
your
good first day.
Yeah, it was a great first day.
watching a lot of those guys come off that bench and waddling over to the, literally waddling to the squat clean
Cleans.
bar.
Yeah.
You know,
I'll tell you what you did. What was really smart was you jogged between. I don't feel like I saw you walking much.
Not much.
especially
Maybe the
towards
first 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, the first couple, obviously the volume. The reps are if you're not familiar with the workout,
Yeah.
you start at 10, you go down to
travel
1.
time is a real thing.
But
Yeah.
especially because you're actually the clean bar is getting further and further away.
Yeah, and it was going
and
way
the deadlift
further
bars,
away.
yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
is not moving. So that was really smart on your part to run. So what's you finish Linda, you see, hey man, I'm in first place at the Central Regional after day 1. What are you thinking?
That I still haven't really
Yeah,
processed that, to be completely honest. I mean, it was really
happened.
cool. It was really unbelievably unexpected. Day 1 was obviously the best day for me, and I
Mhm.
knew it was going to be, but
Yeah, not
To
that
finish
bad.
one, yeah.
in
Yeah, to
front-
be in
I
front of
didn't think
Matt
I was going to
Fraser,
win
yeah.
the first
Do you
heat,
screenshot? I would just be screenshotting.
Oh, I did.
That's my background on my phone
Right.
for life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm sure you're. Again, I don't know you that well, but how obviously social media stuff like that. I'm sure you're getting blown up, and
Yeah.
was it tough to kind of put that thing down and get some sleep? On
yeah,
Friday
it was.
night?
I mean, it was cool to watch
Yeah,
it kind of
sure.
explode. But once it was go to sleep, I mean, I
Mhm,
just
mhm.
throw it away,
That's
focus on
good.
the next day.
That's good.
But even still then, I mean,
Yeah.
sleeping was very minimal
Sure.
that whole weekend just because of everything that was going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're
A
such
lot
an
of pressure
emotional-
being
yeah.
added to it, and
Mhm.
can he hold on the next day and
Mhm,
all that
mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
So next day, what was the first event?
That was the gymnastics.
Oh, the wall
Triplet.
and the steps.
Yeah, yeah.
That was it's pretty crazy to watch the progression of gymnastics in the sport. The first year that they had handstand walks, we'd walk 120 feet, and it was it was crazy to see that. And now I'm literally walking up and down stairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hardest, anytime you elevate yourself, the hardest thing is keeping your center of gravity over top.
Right.
Of basically it's a controlled fall for a lot of people.
Yeah, it
if you're
is,
not born into the gymnastics world, it is a controlled fall. You're basically getting past the point of perpendicular, leaning forward,
Yep.
and almost
Just
catching yourself.
running after your feet.
Yeah. I did see you went over and worked with Keith Pettit a little bit.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big help.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he gave me some just tips on how to stay centered, how to breathe a little bit better
Yeah.
while doing them.
What are some of the things he kind of told you to do?
One is just the most important thing is just staying stacked. So if you watch a lot of CrossFitters, they walk like this and are super arched
The banana?
over their back. Yeah.
Scorpion?
And so he's like, if you're trying to walk up a ramp and then you stay arched, he's like, you're gonna be like in a C.
Yeah.
So he's like, the more you can stay stacked on top of yourself and just lean a little bit extra further, he's like, it's gonna be way easier to do.
If you ever watch, and you watch, especially females, they grew up in the sport of gymnastics, and you watch those females walk. I mean, it's a pencil.
Yeah, the females are so much better.
It's
handstand
unbelievable.
walking. It's
It's
crazy
unbelievable.
difference,
And you see the guys, and like you said, it's just this like big C,
Yeah, right.
and it's just like they're just hands are sideways instead of walking here. But so how was that for you? You said gymnastics is your weakest point, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite event, to be honest with you, because I'd only run through it fully one time in practice, and it was like catastrophic disaster. Like I think I barely made it through like the second set of muscle ups, because like the ramp and stuff we had set up was just this junky rig of a ramp and steps, and so
that's
like
hard to replicate.
yeah,
sure.
it just threw me off.
And not to
so-
mention, when we talked to Kyle, he's like, like $2,000.
Yeah,
you know, like to
things
buy
not-
it.
not
yeah,
cheap,
yeah, no gyms are just shelling out $2,000 for
Yeah.
one athlete to practice this before
Right.
for regionals.
Yeah.
So we'd come up with kind of just like a makeshift game plan, like, hey, if all goes well, like this is how you should go through that event.
Right.
And fortunately, like it went exactly to plan.
Nice.
Like I ended up missing 2 walks, which set me back maybe like a minute on that event, but like I only missed
Overall, that's
missed
great.
2 of them.
Yeah.
You
so
missed
it
two,
was-
yeah.
and not to mention because even though we're not at the top, we're not at all the games athletes, but like just at regionals, like they're incredible athletes, and to make it look that easy, people don't realize how difficult that really is.
That's got to be one of the hardest things they've ever thrown at a regional, for
Yeah.
sure.
Like-
yeah, I would think
yeah.
so.
Like just walking your hands alone is a skill that most people don't just pick up on right away, and then to have to go up an elevation, stairs, and then back down a just smooth elevation.
Yeah.
That's huge, and to only miss 2, and not to mention the way they had it set up to where if you fell, you had to walk up to it, and then go up and then back down and then past the line.
Yeah.
Like that's incredibly
And
difficult.
the element limits for muscle ups and pistols.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, you're getting a lot of obviously pistols, not shoulders, but on the muscle up, you're still not getting a rest on the shoulders.
No.
Yeah, because
So-
you went muscle up, ramp, pistol, and then ramp, muscle up.
Yeah, so the ramp was just kind of transition between
Yeah.
the muscle ups and the pistols.
Yay.
Whichever way you're going, yeah.
Even muscle ups in that setting are tough.
Yeah.
Because unless you practice on a high set of rings,
Yeah.
there's a lot of play
It's
in
a lot
those. Because a lot of
different.
people will
A
go
lot
off of a
different.
rig
Mhm.
where the straps are shorter.
Yeah,
You
it's
get a
where it's
lot
more like
play.
a bar muscle up than it is a ring muscle up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, at my gym we had long ones that I
Yeah.
practiced
Nice.
on, so it wasn't too.
They were
foreign.
kipping muscle ups.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So, how'd you end up placing wise on that?
I think that one was like 16th.
16th. So that's not bad for.
So for
work.
that
yeah.
one, I was like fantastic. That's
Right.
great. Yeah.
And then you get a little bit of rest, and then event 4,
It was the snatch and burpees.
snatch and burpees.
Yeah. Which isn't.
So at this point, you have been working out right beside Fraser.
Yeah. So
Right.
day 2 was.
Yeah, I saw that
yeah,
photo.
it was-
That's a pretty
it was
sweet.
front and center.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That's cool,
Yeah.
man. So the snatches were they decreased in weight,
Yeah.
and what was the rep scheme?
I think it was 10 snatches, 12 burpees for 4 rounds. First 2 rounds were at 175, and then the next 2 rounds were at 115.
Okay, 175, 115.
Yeah.
And then that's I was trying to watch go back and watch some of it, and that was the one on, so I just watched, and it definitely looked like you laid it all out.
Oh, that
on
killed me.
that
That
one.
was so bad.
I mean,
terrible work.
You know, if you've ever done CrossFit before, let's be honest, couplets are the absolute worst.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
just anything.
Yeah.
I mean,
Back and
it
forth,
could be
back and
anything,
forth.
burpees or
Yeah.
anything, and you know, any type of sprint, whether it's a row or a bike or whatever. That's just it's gonna crush you. So,
Yeah.
it looked like it turned out pretty well for you though.
It did. I think I got again like 15th or
Yeah.
16th place. That was one of the ones where unfortunately like that was way behind my training time. I think that was because just the bars were so different and it
Yeah.
threw me off. And then a lot of times when I catch snatches, my feet are pretty wide, and I'd never thought like if your foot's on the line, that's a no rep.
Right.
So in the first round, I had 3 snatches that were no
Oh,
rep.
no.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
what
And
am I
again,
doing
being
wrong?
taller.
Like, it was
Right.
like, and
Being
yeah, being
taller.
taller. So
Yeah,
you have to
they-
catch lower with a short bar. Like it was just a whirlwind of.
They discriminate against the
unexpected.
tall folk. It's clear. No.
These are wider lanes. They stop being easy.
Right.
Go back to where was that? Columbus, the Ohio State Fairgrounds.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of farmland.
It's like 100 people there the first year.
Just do whatever
What
you
is
want.
this?
So, yeah, it's the short part's weird, man.
But
it's-
after day 2, you were still
I think a third.
third.
That's where I
That's
finished.
freaking fantastic, man.
Yeah.
And
How you feeling at that
yeah,
point?
after day 2.
Super beat up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the pistols in that workout just wrecked my legs.
I don't know what it is about pistols. I can do a freaking 400-pound, back squat or whatever you want to say, just like, all right, I'm gonna do every minute on the minute, whatever, just heavy,
10
like
pistols.
heavy yeah.
It's like, God.
10 pistols. I'm
Right.
sore for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That is, again, one movement where I'm like, I'm to the point in my life where
doesn't
I'm like,
need
I
to be
never have to
done.
do them again.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another movement that's just like separates CrossFit the sport from CrossFit the
Sweet.
fitness
Yeah.
methodology.
See?
It's just
This
like,
guy-
it doesn't
this
need
He
to
already
be
guy
gets
gets
it.
it.
He already gets it. We just talked when we talked to Pat Herringer, who owns 513 United, and
Great guy.
great guy, great beard,
Yeah, fantastic.
Great-
beard.
fantastic beard.
Just overall.
Hope he's listening. But what he put it probably the best, and they're party tricks.
Oh, completely.
Like
yeah,
muscle
that's
ups
a
and
great way to put
pistols
it.
are party tricks.
Yeah.
Like everyone can do them now, but you're just separating yourself from those higher level athletes by doing it.
And again, you can use the pistol as a fantastic diagnostic tool, for working with any type of population.
Yeah.
But at the same time, whenever you're trying to do these, we're talking, more specifically about doing them at high intensity. It's one thing whenever I've got a box behind you and maybe I'm holding your hands and you're going back and I'm like,
You're holding onto the rig, something
you
like
have
that.
you have a valgus fault here whenever you go down and your ankle's internally rotating. It's one thing to be like that. Again, we're talking about 3, 2, 1, go, and now I'm asking you to do 50 pistols on each leg
Is it-
at high
Is
intensity.
it like grid league where they had to do burpee over the bar into a
They
pistol?
get so ridiculous. I don't know.
But that's
Drive
like,
strip
but that's
Yeah.
again, it's
I
like
can't do
that's
it.
basically the
They're-
party trick. Mike McKenna was talking about. It's like all the stupid things we do in sports, and it's like, like throwing a baseball, pitchers.
Yeah.
It's the dumbest thing you could possibly do, but it is the sport of it.
Right.
So yeah, so you're super beat up after day 2, or is that accurate?
Yeah, that's very accurate.
Okay, sorry, I didn't want to put words in your mouth. And then so now day 3, we're in 3rd place.
Yeah.
Central Regional, one of the most competitive regions, if not the most competitive regional out there. What's the first event? Day 2 or day 3? Sorry.
That was event 5. So that was the 50 handstand push-ups, 50 toes to bar, 50 cow bike, 50 dumbbell step overs, and then the lunge,
Oh yeah.
which was a beast of a workout.
Yeah. What the hell?
Yeah.
Dave Castro, man, he's like.
He's going for blood.
Yeah. What's up with
I
that?
tell you what, those soft boxes are really tough to do anything on. I feel like too.
They were interesting.
Like just
Yeah.
like if
It's
you have
almost
that,
more
what'd you have?
stability.
What'd you have in each hand?
A 70-pound dumbbell.
Yeah. So I mean, your body weight, like it's unstable. Like
Yeah.
I get why, I know why they do it.
Yeah.
But it's a different feeling to walk on. Even when we did
Yeah.
the higher box jumps the other day, it was like jumping onto the 30-inch side on the soft box, and it's like you get up there and you're like, I don't feel like I'm gonna fall over. So what was the toughest part? I'd imagine
Handstand push-ups.
handstand push-ups for
Yeah,
you.
and
you said
especially
gymnastics,
going
yeah.
in with the fatigue from the previous 2 days, like coming off the wall when I finished those, I was like a minute and 15 behind training time. So I looked up and was just like, oh no.
What are their
Like,
standards?
How'd you break them up?
I think it went like 15, 10, 10, then just failure for the
Yeah,
remaining
sure,
sure.
sure.
Yeah.
What are the standards they use for?
So
handstand
at
push-ups?
regionals, you just had the 2 by 3 foot box.
See? Just use that.
Palms inside, and then you had to have full hip extension.
I really hate the open standard.
I don't
Sorry.
like it either.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Don't.
I know. I'm like, just use that standard. The 2x3 box worked well.
Yeah.
Again, if you're short, good for you. Like
Yeah.
I'll never
you're gonna
forget,
suck on the row.
Yeah.
I'll digress and show you my age, and obviously Jared's. So we were very, and Jared primarily. I was more in the coaching realm for regionals, and we were up there in Rich Froney's heyday. He was in our central, and we had Dan Bailey and
Yeah.
Scott Panchek and Nick, all these heavy hitters, out there. And Dan Bailey does Diane the one year, and we're like right down there watching him. It's him and Froning, and he's doing all of his handstand push-ups strict. and I guess he had like one of his fingers or something was on the line, so like there's no repping him. He looks at his judge and he's like, "Just tell me when I'm done," and he just keeps doing.
Well, this will show you again.
That's
show you how
amazing.
far
It
it's
was
come.
so amazing. He did it like 1:30 or something. It was crazy.
First thing is one of the team workouts was 4 members. Each person did a 750 meter row, and then combined, the 4 of you did 50 handstand push-ups,
No way.
and then you
Yeah.
finished with a 750 row.
It's come a long way.
And not
That's
to mention,
crazy.
the walls were just a bare sheet of plywood
Yeah, it was plywood.
with 25-pound plates and an ab mat in between.
Yeah.
And
And
you're
that's
only
they didn't even have mats. You were just
That's
lifting on
really
concrete.
funny.
the only
It was.
rule is you couldn't have your finger in the hole where the bar goes.
Oh wow.
It's because I guess this gives you, like, if you had a finger
Oh,
there, you
who
could
knows?
press off
Yeah.
easier. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
But either way, whenever I think of handstand push-ups, like Dan Bailey's arms.
a minute
like,
27.
He was just literally.
That's like a
Yeah,
minute,
it was.
a minute
He was
27
sprinting to
buy-in.
the bar, sprinting to the 225 deadlifts, and sprinting back, and
Well, when you're
he just
when you're
crushed it.
5'6" and your arms are down past your knees.
Yeah, right.
It's
and he's super fit. You know, I mean, I'm
Oh,
not
God,
taking
yeah.
anything away from the guy. Like, dude is super fit. But it was just so impressive. And I'll never forget that. He's like, the judge is like, no rep. And Dan just looks at him. He's like, just tell me when I'm done.
I'm just
I'm
gonna
just gonna keep going.
Yeah, he probably did like
Yeah.
probably close to 60 handstand
Yeah, it was
push-ups.
crazy. So yeah, like I said,
I digress.
I digress.
Yeah.
But
The old
nostalgia.
it's the old days when all you had to do was one handstand push-up. You go to regionals.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways.
But it's always fun because you know, obviously it is progressive, and that's one of the things that honestly allures me still to the sport, especially the games as a gym owner, is just seeing literally humans push their potential.
Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
that's what's so incredible about it. And every year at the games, you know, you don't know what it is. It's the pegboard, or you know, I mean, remember the one year, speaking of handstand push-ups, they were like, no kipping, you're gonna do them strict, and you just saw a lot of, you know, primarily there was males for sure, but females, you know, obviously a little more with the upper body, just stand there, and
Yeah.
it's like, you know, the handstand walks, and so it's always fun to see what's they're gonna introduce next. So.
I feel like there's again, everybody loves to hate on Dave Castro, but I really do feel like he is 5 years ahead in his mind on where this is actually going.
Oh, yeah,
I think he's just a
yeah.
constant student.
Yeah.
You know, because if you do follow him on social media and stuff like that, dude is he's an avid reader. You
Yeah.
know, he's
Yeah.
constantly reading, and I imagine traveling and visiting places and doing his research. You know, he's not just sitting on his butt and throwing darts at a board with movements on it.
Yeah,
You
right.
know.
Right.
So,
So the handstand push-up workout,
handstand
5,
push-up. Yeah, we'll go back there.
and then so how'd that turn out for you?
That one again was, I hadn't finished that one in training, so the goal that day was just get it done.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't look around, just try and beat the time cap.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so once I had gotten finally to the bike, I think everyone else had just gotten off the bike. So I was like, oh, jeez, Pete. So
Yeah.
I just tried to move a little bit faster than I did in training on the bike. And then got to the box step ups and was like, there's no stopping at this point. You just have to keep moving. And
That's
so
some grit.
just picked them up and just thought about it. Set a 6 for the box, breathe once or twice, pick them up, go.
Yep.
Do the same thing for 8 sets, and
Yeah. Did you get it finished?
I got capped.
Oh, you
Like
got
so,
capped,
I finished it, but then didn't get to the finish line.
I get you.
Yeah.
Well, that's damn close, man.
Yeah.
So obviously, one more to go for a chance of obviously going to the next level. How was the body feeling and the mind?
So
and,
bad.
Yeah, just
so bad
a
at
lot of
that
pain.
point. Yeah. Super beat up. Just starting to warm up for the thrusters. Like it was only 155, which typically is like super light for me. Like all day I can do 155 thrusters. But back in the warm up area, I did like 1 rep and was like, oh no, like that was
Yeah.
really heavy.
Who put 225 on there?
Yeah, that's what it felt like. That's
Yeah.
what it felt like. And on top of that, just the pressure of like, why am I in this position right now? Like, how am I in 5th place? Like, I'm like, I'm not. I thought I was gonna be in like 30th place,
Sure,
like,
sure.
here for fun. But I'm like,
Right.
now I've got a shot at it. So, yeah, it was just there was a lot going through my head at that point.
That's to be expected. Anyone in that position. So the last workout's basically a sprint. You got was it rope climbs and
Yeah, rope
thrusters?
climbs and thrusters. Yep.
So 3, 2, 1, go. You're off to the races, and was the 155 still just feeling heavy, or?
It was heavy, but like on top, before we even got to the thrusters, I was like jumping up for my third rope climb, and Scott was the one chasing me at this point. And I hear Scott Panchik's already on the thrusters. I'm like, what? I'm on my third rope climb. Like, aren't we all supposed to be going the same pace right here? How can you climb the rope faster than this?
Right.
And so by the time I got to the thrusters, I see him like working his way back, and in my head I'm just like dang, that's it. Like I knew it was pretty much over at that point, because the first set of thrusters for me was like horrible. It was so heavy. So
I'll tell you what, the exciting part is, hearing you talk about this, is that's just your first year.
Right.
Hearing you talk about your training times and things like that, having that wherewithal while you're working out in regionals to be like, this is where I'm at. I'm a little bit ahead or I'm a little bit behind, throttle forward, throttle back. And now it's just, now you know what it feels like on day 3.
Yeah.
Because that's a huge thing.
That's priceless, man.
That's
that experience.
having that once you know it, you can't forget it. So now you know what it feels like on day 3, and now that is your weakness. It's like, we're going to focus on being able to push through hard on that third day when everyone else starts to peter off. And you look at someone like Scott Panchik, he's been there a few times.
Pretty much everyone that finished, I would say, before you has been there before. Even the younger brother Panchik, he's been to regionals like 4 times. And he trains
with Scott,
with Scott and his twin brother, who all made it to region. So obviously that's an ace in their hole. So I mean, you have nothing but should be really super proud of you. I know obviously everyone in our area is like, super proud of you.
Thank you.
It's one of those things like, not too many people from our area, I feel like, individually wise, on the male side, have really made it that high of a finish in regional. So for a first year, man, like, that's being as young as you are, obviously just, and even next year, whatever happens, like, but just that experience you gained this year is absolutely priceless, and you should be nothing but proud, regardless of, I had that opportunity to maybe go, and but again, it's a super difficult. I mean, let's be honest. There was really only probably 3 spots available. When you get when you got the likes of Frazier, all right, he's gonna win. He's gonna win the games too. And typically Panchik's gonna be up there. Even higher. I'm not sure how it'll finish out, but I know like Alex Anderson's usually
another gimme.
He's your anchors up there.
So
even the guy.
race.
I think the guy that won the regional last year didn't make it.
He didn't. Castillo.
So I'm sure he's bumming about that a little bit, but so you just never know, because it's such a competitive. And let's be honest, like you said, man, it really comes down to a lot of the programming. That little short bar, not to make excuses, can affect the training or so on and so forth. So obviously, 9th place is still a phenomenal finish, and to be up there in the mix, constantly throughout the weekend, that's definitely, you should be proud of that. But so what's is there an off season for you now, or is it like kind of right back to training?
It's kind of get right back into it. I thought about somewhat of an off season, but just resting the past 2 days, I've been already itching to get back to it. So
do you do a lot of local stuff, or Waterpaloos or anything like that, to kind of keep up with the competitive part of it, or is it just
not particularly?
There's nothing wrong with that.
In the
I
past,
think that's
I've done some random local competitions. I tried to do Waterpalooza last year, but didn't qualify for it. I'll probably try and do Waterpalooza this year.
I would say you got a good chance.
Absolutely.
But nothing.
I heard that's
nothing
really
crazy.
fun. That's
it
really
looks
fun.
like so much fun.
I'd like to go down there one year and watch.
Yeah,
I think it'd be a lot of fun.
Well, fantastic. So, Drew, one question we always like to ask people before they head off on the show is just very simple. It's, what is your definition of fitness?
Ooh.
We've had everything answered, so there is no real wrong answer here.
What is fitness? I would say it's just being able to do any physical task that's put in front of you, being able to mentally and physically handle whatever situation is presented to you. I think
that's good.
Fantastic.
I like the mental aspect of that
mental
too,
is
right?
huge. It's not all physical.
Exactly.
It is probably I would say almost more mental.
Yeah.
Being able to,
Yeah.
because we've all seen people push physically past what they thought they could do
Yeah.
because their mental game was strong that day.
Yep.
You know, and think of any bad training day you've had.
Right.
It's not that you physically can't lift that bar. It's that you told yourself that you're not going to.
Exactly.
I think it's something that separates even, you know, you got to experience a little bit this last weekend at the regional with Frazier. It's like
Yeah.
the guy is super genetically talented, but like his mental game,
It's
come on.
unbelievable.
How
It's
do you,
really cool. Like even so, I think the coolest thing for me was watching him, like right up until right before we were gonna walk out the curtains onto the floor. I mean, he's goofing around, joking around, and then you literally see it's like immediately,
yeah.
and like it's night and day difference.
Wow.
Like he's game mode. Do not talk to him. Like he's gonna rip your head off.
I looked at that
I'm going.
Michael Phelps. Did you ever see that Michael Phelps clip where he's got his
Yeah,
headphones on?
yeah,
Like, that's what I
right,
think
exactly. Yeah.
Just like I'm gonna destroy it. You know, just mentally, like you are there and you know you're gonna be able to kill that workout for the day.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
well, Drew, thank you so much
thanks,
for,
man.
Yeah, so
for,
thank
for
you
being
guys.
on today.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening to Everyday Athlete. Join us next week as we dive deep into the lives of those who make us great. Thanks again, man.
Yeah,
Yep. Thank you guys.